Oh my gosh, Terry. This morning's the pre-recorded interview that went out to everybody this morning it just was so good. It just when you enter into something, it elevates it somehow. It
Hmm.
just does.
Thank
So I
you.
want to thank you for that and for sharing your brilliant light with us because um, you hold a key that so many people are looking for, and that is how to get out of their headspace and recipe for the donuts. Are we gonna How many donuts do we have to make our nut this month? And what can I do for you instead of what do you need from me? Kind of thing. um so I mean, we've already talked a little bit about how Heartpreneur started and such. But let's start with what are some of the things that people can do to kind of step out of that mind space and get into the heart space when they are sharing whatever it is that they are doing in their world, in their business.
Oh, love that question. I'm really excited to play with you today. The very first thing that I would say is start having conversations and treating people, whether it's on social media or people you meet anywhere, as if you were starting a dating relationship, right? When we're starting a dating relationship, we may be a little flirtatious, we're very polite, we listen well, we're coming across and showing our best light, and we're not coming at someone and kind of pitching them like, go on a date with me. I'm amazing. I'm fantastic. And while we're laughing at the same time, I see it on social media. I get, the messages in my email or whatever. And it's like, you don't even know. I had a guy message me today on LinkedIn and he said, I might be able to help you get a job as a CEO of a company. I'm like, I'm CEO of my own company. Maybe look at my profile before. So let's just engage in meaningful dialogue and relationships. Let's ask ourselves before we go ask anyone for anything, what can I do for you? How can I create value for you? How can I be of service to you? What can I help you with? What can I teach you? What can I share? How can I serve you? Who can I introduce you to? And start heartpreneur, heart to heart relationships that allow us to connect. So the last thing I'll kind of say about this is if your headspace is I got to go get somebody, I got somebody has to hire me. You're coming across in a way that is not very nice. You're not coming across in a way that repels people. Instead, I want to find people who oscillate with me at the same frequency and go, oh, I'm interested. And they raise their hand. We start a relationship, a dialogue, a conversation. And then once we've dated and had some chocolate and flowers, you know,
Right?
we can go further down the road.
Yeah.
That makes sense, Gail.
That's brilliant. I absolutely love that analogy. That works so well. So well. Yeah. Now, conversely, the other side of it, right? Once you've developed this and you do it like no one I know, because mainly I think because it comes from you authentically, you just share what you're up to. You don't even necessarily offer what you're up to. You just share, you tell people about what you're doing. And your spirit is such that people are like, oh, I want to be in that room. I want to be in the room where Terri is and how that happens and such. So you've mastered it to the point where you don't even have to ask for the sale, right? How can our seven figure seekers get to that space as well?
Hmm. So the way that I got here is the same way that anyone can get here, and my 6,000 something client family members get here in all different industries. And the very first thing is to only create a couple of pieces of content. Stop all of this. I got to post on every platform, and I have to do blogs, and I have to write articles, and I have to do podcasts, and I have to get on podcast interviews, and I have to do Facebook Live. I mean, there's so much busy work. Stop all that. Create some very meaningful content. Only has to be one or two pieces. Very meaningful. Share your best stuff, whatever that is. Stop thinking in a scarcity mindset that, oh, if I give that away, then what? You give that away, and people will say, oh, there's a valuable person. I want more of that. So the first thing I would say is monitor your time for the next 14 days. Social media and your phone are time and energy sucks.
Mm.
Pardon the expression. They are.
They are.
So we had life, for those of you who are old enough to remember this, without phones tied to us and without computers.
Hmm.
Live your life for the next 14 days. Just take yourself on a diet from your phone. Keep your phone off, keep it away from you, turn off your email, only check it maybe once or twice a day, and stop with social media. Limit yourself if you have to do it 20 minutes a day. It's what I typically do.
Hmm.
And decide one or two pieces of content that you want to share to help other people. And I'll tell you how you get a sale from that. Give it away. Literally give it away. Then
Hmm.
just go invite friends, family, colleagues, coworkers, past clients, current clients, potential clients, connections, and say, hey, I just developed something that can really help you, whatever result you help people with. I can really help you grow your business, have better relationships, whatever it is. Give it, give it, give it without, and I'll say this twice because it's so important, without a pitch. No pitch at the end. Now, no discovery call, no, nothing. Just give it
Hmm.
away. Organically, what happens when you give away your best stuff? And I've been doing this for over 40 something years. Organically, people raise their hands, they follow you, they pay attention to you, and they let you know if they're interested. You don't need to pitch them. And then when you start a relationship conversation with them, you
Hmm.
still don't pitch them. So people ask me, well, how do you close people? I don't. I don't overcome objections. I don't manipulate and I don't close. I simply, if I think I can help them, extend my hand, just like I would say, would you like a glass of water? It's the same thing. I don't take it personally if they're not thirsty or they say no. I
Right.
simply extend my hand and say, that is actually something I can help you with. Would you like my help? That's it. It's either a yes or it's a no.
Yeah. That right there, that first of all, that's gold. Okay. First of all, that's gold. And I can see in some of the people that I have followed and stalked and signed up with over the last few years that that's exactly how I buy.
Yeah.
Exactly how I buy. Um, it's very interesting. But it's funny because I see myself as I'm developing in my own business, I'm at the early end of that spectrum, right? There's a way to go. And one of the things that you said about giving, giving, giving popped out at me is it's the same thing as when I was talking to people about their own marketing stuff. When you're posting stuff on posts on Facebook and stuff, you'll get sick of your stuff long before your audience will,
Very good
right?
point. Yes.
So you'll get sick of giving long before your audience is necessarily primed to raise their hand and say, you know what, you've given me an awful lot. I want to see what actually working with you does for me, kind of
Yep.
thing.
Let me
So,
piggyback on that if I can.
yeah.
I always look at prospects as being people in a parade. There's people in the back of the parade who may never move to the front of the parade. They may just drop off. And some
Hmm.
of them might move to the middle of the parade. The middle of the parade has a good chance of moving to the front of the parade, which are the people who then raise their hand and say, let me work with you.
Hmm.
The people at the front of the parade, they're already very interested. They're very excited. Just keep helping them, giving and contributing to them. You do not have to sell them or pitch them. This week, we're only on what, Wednesday?
Yeah.
We have 49 prospects
Wow.
that have come to us. I call that reverse marketing, come to us and said, can you tell me more? Or I'd like to work with Terri, or am I a fit for your program? And now we'll spend a little bit of time, my team, evaluating, can we actually help you? Because we have to make sure that it's somebody that we can use our guarantee with, 200% ROI. We can't take everyone.
Hmm.
But we don't have to go search or look. All that I'm doing, and this is all that I do, is I just contribute in every way that comes to me easily, effortlessly, and naturally. Things that I don't like to do, I don't do. things that are fun, easy, and effortless, like being here with you, creating a Facebook Live, writing a piece of content. That is easy for me. It might not be the easiest for you. So you find out the one or two things that you dig, just give it away. And my experience is I do come from abundance. The more I give, oh my gosh, what comes back to me and the amazing people that show up. I don't know what else to
That's
say.
awesome. Awesome stuff.
Yeah.
Wow. Does that also work in a product type of thing? I know that you and I are both in a service based, offering coaching and programs and such like that. But does it also work that way, that reverse marketing, when it comes to a product sale? Tell me a little bit about that.
So, as you know, and your audience may not, this is my eighth multi-million dollar business in the past 43 years, and they've all been in different industries. This industry I love. I'm planning to stay here. I've been here 27 years. I'm not going anywhere. I owned product businesses along the way.
Okay.
Same exact thing. I would say of my 6,000 or so client family members I've worked with over the years, maybe 1,800, 2,000 of them products. Same exact thing. So let me use an analogy. When I was in high school, I worked in Baskin Robbins ice cream store. And I remember when I first got the job, the very first day, they talked about these little pink spoons where you give people samples, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my manager specifically said, as many samples as they could sample every ice cream, just give them pink spoons. And I thought, that's the craziest thing. I said, well, why would we be giving that much away? And he said, I'm not going to tell you, but in a week, I'm going to ask you how that works.
Mm.
So everyone who came in the store, I offered pink spoons. And by the end of the week, I was in shock that not one person, not one, had ever tried some ice cream and walked out without buying anything. I'm like, I get it. I get it. So the concept that I came up with, this is how I actually developed reverse marketing,
Uh-huh.
is the more I give, the more I give, the more I give, those pink spoons, the more people take.
Yeah. Yeah. Ralph, could you mute, please? I don't know if he can hear me, but I can hear everything going on in his house.
You can mute him if you'd like.
I will have to learn how to
There'll
do
be
that.
three dots to the right of his little box.
Oh, there we go. Thank you. You're
You're
awesome. Thanks. There's my pink spoon of the day.
There's your pink spoon. The whole concept of pink spoons, like if you walk away with one thing from our conversation, think about pink spoons. Sample, 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 sample. And if they dig the sample, they're going to ask for more. It's very simple.
Yeah. It makes sense. And we don't necessarily think of it like that. We think, there's a bowl of ice cream here. There's a 5-gallon tub of ice cream here, and it's going to be gone if too many of those pink spoons come in. But yeah, that's freaking brilliant. I love how that stuff shows up. All right. So Ralph that's coming in, Ralph is a special kind of person that I'm hoping, I know you can, but I'm hoping that you can help him, especially because he's an introvert and yet he has reached the pinnacle of military service for an enlisted person. He's worked his way all the way up through the ranks, and there's nowhere else for him to go inside of the military. So he's transitioning out and he's writing an ebook about leadership for introverts.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are you an introvert in any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, so I think people may be very shocked because when people see me on stage or, doing a TEDx or my own radio or TV show, everybody assumes I'm an extrovert. I am an introvert. I am a huge introvert. My preferred style and my natural style is to be quiet and to be alone. And I'm very introspective. I have learned, and I do mean learned, I've taught myself to be an extrovert in situations where I need to be an extrovert. Barbara Portsline, who is one of my client family members and also does some work with me at Heartrepreneur, is even more of an introvert than I am. I mean, she's an incredible introvert. And now she speaks on stages with me. She does masterminds with me. So a couple of things. I'm really glad to see you here, Ralph, and thank you for your service. Tremendous. The first thing that I say is I love what you're doing, Ralph, because leadership for introverts is very, very important. As an introvert myself, who was the CEO of a national healthcare company, I learned that I needed to have certain skills, and I didn't have to be an quote an extrovert at all times. I just had to use some skills that would allow me to appear to the public in a friendlier way than me being quiet and introverted. And I believe that leaders need that. And I believe that there are actually a lot more introverts than there are extroverts. I think that you see many people in the world like me that are just out there and you go, oh my gosh, I wish I was like Terri. She's such an extrovert. And I'm sitting here going, okay. So first of all, I think people need this book. Second of all, I think an ebook on this would be a great topic. And then what I'd love to see if I were mentoring you, like in conjunction with that, would be some kind of a consulting program, a training program, because in my experience, and I think a large number of my client family members right now are introverts, they truly could use some skills and some training in that leadership aspect as an introvert. So 100%. And I love what you're doing, Ralph.
Do I need to take him off mute? There we go.
Thanks. No,
Yep.
thank you.
Hi,
Sorry,
Ralph.
I, I was ordering food because I live in a small town and I had a doctor's appointment out of town. So I'm taking advantage right now.
Glad you're here, though.
Glad you're here.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Yeah, I guess that idea came about because I've noticed that they've always, through my career, they've looked at me to lead these guys, and I never knew where it came from. I just let my work speak for itself. But they're like, "Hey, you're leading these guys." I'm like, "Huh?" So it just happens. It's like I don't apply for it. It just happens. I guess I've been lucky.
I don't know that that's lucky. So
Go ahead.
my gut on that is there is something within your leadership abilities and your personality that has other people tend to follow you. Okay. And sometimes we don't sort of rise ourselves up and go, oh, I'm going to be a leader. It's other people that start coming to us. And that means we have some innate leadership ability. Even myself, I had no idea that I was ever a leader until people were like, can you run this? Can you do this? Can you be in charge? And I was like, who are they talking to? It's like, oh, it's me. So there is an innate quality. My very strong belief is you have an innate quality of leadership. Being an introvert or not being an introvert, that quality is some part of you and your personality that causes people to flock and follow you. And that's the one thing I would say that you can really, not the one, there's many things that you can really help people with, is understanding you have leadership abilities, even if you're introverted. Being, such an introvert myself, I was able to rise up and I was able to help, and I do now help other introverts not necessarily learn to be an extrovert. I'm an extrovert when I need to be, like right now, 15 minutes, 20 minutes from now, I'll be quiet reading a book. Okay. However, I know that to serve people from the highest good, I need to allow myself to fully engage with them and to give whatever I can. And the other piece about being an introvert in my experience is a lot of being an introvert is being in our own heads. And it's also judging ourselves. Maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
So it's just giving yourself permission. Like, I'm showing up here as real can be. I don't have the best background. There's some glare. I don't have any makeup on. I just show up and say, if I don't focus on myself and I focus on giving value to other people, in that way, I forget that I'm even introverted. Does that make sense to you, Ralph?
Yeah, actually, I think that's my history. So.
There you go.
You can definitely, and that's wonderful stuff too. Just the fact that the acknowledgement that you're an introvert and you have learned how to cultivate an authentic appearance of extrovertism in order to engage and become connected with your audience. And it's not like you have to pretend to be that all the time. It's not a mask, it's not a fakeness. It's a skill,
And
right?
it's something that I choose, like I'm very conscious of choosing when I'm going to be quote extroverted.
Mhm.
And the reason that I go into that mode is I know that I can't help people. I can't make a difference if I sit here like this. I wouldn't never make a difference. So I say, Terry, stop thinking about yourself and your own, insecurity, and just go out there and help people and focus on other people. And once I turn that focus off of me into someone else, I'm able to, quote, come out of my shell and to really make a difference for other people. Again, if you really boiled it down, my characteristics haven't changed. I'm an introvert. I just can put on a different appearance for myself and let my walls fall down in order to help others.
Okay. I know Gail heard this yesterday, but
That's fine.
going through the ranks, right? I got to the point where I wasn't afraid to lose my stripes for my guys.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I guess that's the only time I got extroverted because I didn't like people messing with my guys.
Yeah.
And I wasn't afraid to stand up to, I didn't care what rank they were.
Mm-hmm. So
So I
that
don't,
doesn't surprise me because there's an example, Ralph, of just what I was saying. You went outside of yourself. You weren't thinking about Ralph, you're thinking about your guys. And so all of a sudden you do whatever it took for them and the focus was on them. Yeah?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Changes everything. So in anything that you're doing, as you're creating a business, your ebook, this leadership program, take all the focus off of you. Come from how can I serve just like you have? How can I create value? How can I be helpful? And when we take our ego out of it, I always say our ego is not our amigo. We take our ego out of it. That's when we can go ahead and we can just be in a very helpful mindset. And that's where some of those quote extroverted qualities we have, because even introverts, we have some extroverted qualities, whether those are our first pattern or our second, they're within every human being. It's in our DNA.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear him making good.
Now, Ralph, do you have any questions for Terry? Did you watch the pre-recorded interview this
Yeah,
morning? Okay,
I
I just wanted to
did.
make sure you were aware of who she is and what she
Yeah,
does.
yeah, I did. The part that really hit me was like the people not giving you value. You know, it's like, wow, yeah, you pay these guys and they don't give any value to you. And I like how she said, how to let them go.
Yeah,
Her advice on letting them go. So that was awesome.
good. I'm
But
glad to hear that. Yeah, it's an interesting industry, coaching, consulting, mentoring, strategic planning, whatever it is. There, especially during the pandemic, a lot of people all of a sudden would just put out a shingle and be like, I'm a coach, I'm a consultant. And it's like, what? So, we really have to make sure. And the way that I tell people to make sure, I hired somebody to do some work for my company just this morning. I said, unless you show me a guarantee, you're not getting my 30 grand. So show me a guarantee and I'll give you my credit card. And 25, 30 minutes later, they wrote up a guarantee that wasn't in their original contract. Like, okay, I'm in. So
Nice.
it's just advice to everyone, be careful because unfortunately, people do just hang up shingles. And during the pandemic, people are all of a sudden saying they're this, that, and the other thing with
right.
no background, no experience.
Wow. Yeah, and I guess my question is, like, do I keep that behavior all throughout? Because I noticed how I treated my guys, and then I also coached basketball when this pandemic wasn't going on,
Yeah.
and I noticed that when I had the same concept of these 13-year-old girls, right? I mean, they're very emotional. They're very,
Yes.
but, but I've kept that same concept with them, and the response was amazing. you know, because I didn't treat myself like I'm better than you, even though they knew I could play a lot better than them.
Sure.
But I told them, I'm here to teach you, I'm here to develop you, so that in case you want to, you know, move on further, that's what I'm here for.
That's perfect. And that's what I would hold in everything you do. I would do it all the same way. I tell my own client family members all the time, I'm not smarter than you. I'm not better than you. I'm advanced in terms of I have a higher level of business skills, and that's why you're hiring me. I learn from you every single day. I tell my clients every day, I learn from you every single day. I learn from your questions. I learn from everything you do and everything you say. I'm just running faster than you in terms of business. So exactly, don't change. Be who you are, be authentic. And just the way you stated that with the basketball and with the girls, same way I would state it with everyone in every business encounter.
Okay.
I can
Awesome.
see the leadership in you. Like just that statement, that's a leader. That is a leader. No wonder they come to you and go, you're leading the guys. You're a leader, Ralph.
I guess I never accepted it.
So up until now, let's kind of end that.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, and that ends it. Up until now, I had not accepted it. From this moment on, I'm going to embrace it.
Okay.
Good. Hey, I'm happy. I feel really good now.
I'll do that.
As he was talking about that, I'm thinking, do you have any kids yet, Ralph?
I have 3. They drive me nuts.
Because I'm just thinking, you know, from hearing about how he is with his crew, you know, his team, his people that are under him, these 13-year-old kids, you know, you're gonna be or already are an amazing dad, right? And
I'd like to think so.
I know we don't like to think so, but I mean, you can just see it from the outside because kids are like sponges. They are learners. That's their entire purpose for being when they're kids, right? And when you've got a parent that's do what I say, not what I do, as opposed to a parent that says, let me show you how to do that right.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole different ball game. So kudos. Absolutely kudos.
I second that.
Yeah, big time. So Ralph also has been doing some YouTube videos, doing a little bit. Will you tell Terri a little bit about what you got going on over there? Because if there's anybody that can polish a YouTube video, Terri just makes magic with it.
So I'm trying to separate everything, right? So I'm doing this leadership book about my own concepts, and I'm doing YouTube videos about people that are planning to join the military, transitioning out of the military, having different programs and all that. And but before that, I met another YouTuber who I started mentoring, and he started a site called Joining the Military After 30. And he asked me to be part of that group because I've retired from the military. I have active duty and reserve experience. And he asked me, hey, can you come to this group and, you know, kind of mentor all these other guys too, if they have all kinds of questions. So I said, yeah, I'd be glad to. You know, so that's kind of the focus on my YouTube channel. I try to keep the leadership out of it. I try to keep it separate as much as possible because I want to keep everything separate.
Okay. So I might set up 2 different channels. One where you're doing your leadership, and that would piggyback with your book, and maybe even with many of my books. I have taken pieces of chapters and I've made short YouTube videos of lessons from each chapter. And so I'd have one channel that focuses there. And then on the other channel, I would focus on, and this is an important piece, so I'll say 2 things. I would focus on making sure that the alignment is on helping these military people. And I would make at the end of each video have some type of a call to action. So the video creates a lot of value. I uploaded one on my YouTube channel, Mentor Terri, I think today. And it's a lesson, it's a teaching, and it's a lesson. And at the end, there's a simple call to action, which is basically, well, obviously subscribe to the channel. If you think I can help you, again, reverse marketing, raise your hand. And so all that these YouTube videos do, regardless of which channel they're on for you, Ralph, is start to get your audience not only engaged, literally raising their hands so that you can identify them. And the concept that I talk about a lot is sort, sift, and separate. You're sorting people who just kind of watch the videos and they're like, yeah, that was nice. You're separating to the top people who are more interested. And, it's kind of this whole sifting out and like letting people go to the bottom and rise to the top. And then those are the people that you engage with further to help serve and support in regardless of which channel they're in. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's just, I'm just starting out. So it's, the algorithms, not all there yet. So.
It takes a while. In my experience, the more that you can put on YouTube and then share it to social media. So every time I put up a YouTube video, I hit the share button to Twitter and to LinkedIn. And, I organically, because Facebook does not like shares, I organically share it on Facebook and organically share it on Instagram, whatever it might be.
Now, let me break you there for a second. When you say organically share it on Facebook, does that mean you copy the link, you take it over, and or do you have to do it from YouTube to Facebook so that it goes, okay, you went through the right door?
Yeah. Facebook hates YouTube. Okay, let me make that really clear. Facebook does not like anything about YouTube. Facebook has its own videos. It feels like YouTube is a competition and it takes people off the platform. So if you put in a link that has a YouTube video, Facebook's algorithm starts to show you to less and less, and the more times you do it, less and less and less people. So here's what I do. I make a video. Usually I'm a Mac gal, so usually in QuickTime. I post that video on YouTube, and then from YouTube, I share it to Pinterest, to Twitter, to LinkedIn, to Instagram, where all of those things are fine to share. However, on Facebook, that video that is sitting on my computer, and this is where the organically gets uploaded directly to Facebook, not anything about my YouTube, because Facebook hates that. And so what I put in there is something like, if you liked this and want to see more videos like this, you can go to my YouTube channel. Don't drop the link. Facebook hates that. Trust me, people are smart enough to go look up your name on YouTube and figure it out. Or if I say you can go to my YouTube channel, hashtag Heartrepreneur Terri Levine or hashtag Mentor Terri.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a little trick on Facebook there.
I love it. This is awesome. Yes, thank you. I should have been taking notes. Most of it I'll remember because I'm like, oh, well, that explains everything now.
Very careful with Facebook. I am a Facebook content creator, get paid for Facebook to create content. So I'm kind of on some Facebook things. Be very, very, very careful about posting any links on Facebook. Anytime you post a link to anything that's not on Facebook, they will show your page to less and less people. And sometimes it can be to 10% less and sometimes 50% less. And you do not get picked back up in the algorithm potentially ever.
Wow.
That's how serious it is. And by the way, if you really ever read the Facebook community standards, posting links is a violation of community standards.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Good stuff to know, though, because, it's very, very frustrating to be in the position that I've gotten myself into where, a moment of being right and justified really shot myself in the foot when I had a CBD page. And they told me, they took it down. I requested it back up. They took it down again. And I said, why? And they said, because you're running a pharmacy, off this page. And I said, no, I'm running sales for a network marketing company that has a pharmacy. And I got banned from ever advertising on Facebook again. I wasn't even told about it. The guy on the other end of the line said, she's done. Click, click. And, in that moment, he clicked a box that said, this complaint is 6 months old. She can never have it back.
And that's why you have to be, I tell my client family members all the time, really, really careful. Right now with the pandemic and with Facebook's automated intelligence, if the automated intelligence even sort of kind of thinks something's wrong, they can just, and this is what does happen, being very transparent, they take down all of your Facebook pages. So not just, you're lucky, they just took that down. What can happen and what they tell you in community standards, you lose all access to Facebook completely, your personal profile, your groups, and you never get back on. And I won't mention this person's name. I work with somebody who's very, very famous, who was in the movie The Secret, who's a good friend of mine, and I do his Facebook for him. And prior to hiring me, he put something on Facebook that he had no idea violated community standards. He used a word that violates community standards, and he had lost all of his Facebook, and he was told he was banned for life. It took a year, and only because myself and about 3 other content creators just kept trying to get with Facebook, we were lucky enough to get his personal page back. He'll never have a business page or a group, and he'll never be able to advertise. So, I want to give people sort of the heads up, because a lot of us don't know these. We sign up for social media, and me included in the beginning, I was like, oh yeah, terms of service. Who reads that, right? You download software. Yeah, I agree. We don't read it. Facebook has very serious, very, very serious community standards. So get familiar with them.
Gotcha. Awesome. Ralph, are you back to work now? What's going on?
No,
rob a
I'm
bank?
trying to pick up my food. No, I hope not.
Get in his food.
So with this, the terms of service, like another venture, I'm getting into resume writing, because all these guys who want federal jobs, they always come to me.
Okay.
And so far, my success rate's been 7 of 7 getting them hired.
That's awesome.
But yes. So should I do it on a Facebook, or should I do it a separate page for advertising that?
Yeah, personally, I would have a LinkedIn profile about that. Resume writing isn't like the biggest thing that people come to Facebook for. However, they definitely go to LinkedIn for that. So if it were me, I'd be using LinkedIn as a platform for that, posting some content, some articles, and talking about it in your profile on LinkedIn.
Okay, so LinkedIn is better than Facebook.
Yeah, for resumes, 100%. LinkedIn was really designed initially, before Microsoft bought it, was truly designed as a recruitment and job site, and it still functions a lot in that capacity.
Okay, that's good
I
advice.
have to agree with that. Before I started podcasting, the only times that I've even visited LinkedIn was when I was out of a job looking for one.
Yeah, that's typical.
Yeah. So that's a perfect market for you. And I love the fact that Ralph not only has the skill set to write a resume that federal recruiters will read and see, because there's a special way about it. He's good at writing resumes to get people in. And then he's also good at writing resumes to transfer to the private sector as well.
That's awesome. And that's really needed. So that's absolutely awesome. Yeah, I'm telling you, your audience is on LinkedIn for sure, Ralph.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Awesome. Any other questions that you might have? We still have a few minutes before our hour is up.
I guess for these three ventures I'm getting into, is there like a prioritization? I can't even say the word.
Prioritization, I got it. So I'm going to tell you something that I'm saying with a lot of love, and yet I am kind of putting steel toe boots underneath you there. My client family members know, because I say this all the time, one focus, one goal, one focus, one goal. If we show up being 3 different things, or selling 3 different products or 3 different services, it can take us 10 to 20 years to make 100,000 or more in one of those businesses, because people don't know who we are. They don't know what we stand for, and they're confused. Mind never buys. So personally, I would pick one of those three. That would be my business. That would be my focus. Once you get that up to the $100,000 level consistently, go ahead and then add another one. I would not do three at once. It's very difficult to start three businesses at once. And you're going to look to the public, forget you're going to feel to yourself. You're going to look very scattered. You're going to look confused. So let's just say I'm a business consultant. I'm talking about business consulting. And then I said, oh, by the way, I also, can help you get a job and I write resumes. Oh, and then on the side, I sell these wonderful drops and they're miracle drops and it's part of a network marketing company or whatever. Who are you, right? So if I went to a doctor and the doctor started, talking to me about, well, on the side, I also have a whole different practice and I'm a shaman or something. It would take the credibility away. And yet this happens, okay?
Yeah.
So I would tell you, if you're one of my client family members, let's pick one niche. Let's go deep and narrow in that niche. Let's get you consistently at 100,000 in that niche. Once that's rolling, we can go to the next one, get known there, become the credible expert there, have a conveyor belt of qualified prospects there, another 100 grand automated rolling in, then go to the next one. It's sort of like saying, I'm going to start three businesses on the same day and I'm going to spray and pray and throw all this stuff up and see what works. I wouldn't recommend it personally.
Okay, so that the saying is true then. A master of many is a master of none.
You got it.
Gotcha.
100% I support that.
And you didn't ask, but I would think that the resume writing and your audience building on LinkedIn would probably be the easier way to get to the 100,000 and then start opening up speaking and selling your book at events. I mean, even if we weren't closed down with COVID and, you're not doing, in-person events necessarily right now, right. It is, I don't want to say it's a long, hard road, but it is a thing that takes some time when you're developing a speaking career and selling books. So whereas a resume, you could have 3 orders for a resume by the end of this week, get them out the door and more.
Right? I agree with that and I support that. As an author, I've written 47 books. It's really, there's not a lot of money in selling books. There just isn't. I'm being upfront. I mean, I get advances, which is why I write books. Books are great for lead generation. People read a book, they go, that author sounds interesting, and the author may sell resume writing services, or that author may sell leadership training or consulting. The other thing is, as someone who has built a speaking business and has helped other speakers build a business, that is a very slow road because you have to have a lot of things underneath you before someone's going to pay you or hire you to come in and do speeches. Even if you wanted to do a TEDx talk, there's a lot of things that has to happen before you get on the TED stage. So I wouldn't recommend starting with books. Books are great to give away as free content in my experience. I don't try and sell books. In fact, I use books as business cards. I literally just hand them out all over the place. However, I would focus, just like Gayle said, I would focus on resumes. There's so many people that need that service. And she's right. You could probably sell 3-5 people pretty quickly on LinkedIn. Start that conveyor belt, start getting other people, them to recommend other people. That will take off. And then you can look at, well, how do I piggyback versus I'm going to do a YouTube video on this and tomorrow I'm going to do this. And the next I go and I Google you and I'm like, oh, Ralph doesn't do just that. He does all this other stuff. I don't know who you are.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. Yep. And that's not to say don't continue to do your YouTube videos and work on the ebook. Not at all, because you're learning a whole lot right now on how to develop that extrovert skill that you can pull out of your bag when you need it. But again, also with knowing what I know about you and your introvertedness and your discomfort with being in the spotlight, that you've got a lot of skill building to do before you're ready to be on stage anyway, right? Oh, I scared him away.
No, I'm here.
It's okay. I'll just add one thing to that. So, I'm very introverted. I mentioned Barbara, who's on my team, is even more introverted. Barbara now speaks on stages. She's a paid speaker. She's amazing on stage. I do keynotes for $25,000. So I understand how to speak on stage. It is not for either of us. It's not our natural style. And even though the audience, if you surveyed somebody in my audience, they would tell you, I could never do what Terri does. She's so extroverted. I'm like, oh, they don't know me, right? It takes a tremendous amount of energy, in my experience, for an introvert to go speak. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do it regularly. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot. An extrovert, just whatever. An introvert, we have to kind of use a lot of energy to do that because it's not our natural style. So I would also say to you that does require some training. Speaking on stage, even for extroverts, as Gayle was saying, there's training, there's skill sets, there's things that you need to learn about audience management and how do you get on stage. I love when people come to me and they go, I'm a speaker, and I'm like, great, where have you spoken? Well, I can't get on stages. Right. There is a whole science of how you get on stages. And without that piece, you're speaking to yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like I did for a while, where I was a volunteer who would practice my speech at the front of the church for a televised ministry on Wednesday nights, so the camera guys could practice following somebody moving on the stage. It worked, but
yeah,
there were 4 guys in the room listening to my talk week after week.
Yeah. And that's the other piece I always say to people, start small, right? Somebody comes to me recently and they're like, can you help me get on a TEDx stage? I'm like, well, tell me where you've spoken. And nowhere really. And I said, I wouldn't recommend that you go try and cut your teeth with TEDx. All right. I would recommend that we start with some small local events, whether it's a chamber of commerce or a Lions group or whatever, just a Rotary. Go, cut your teeth in some nice small rooms, get really comfortable, and then have them video it or you video it and go watch it back and then start improving every single time. Some people, by the way, are natural speakers. Okay. I started speaking on stage when I was 5 because I literally was pushed in front of an audience of 5,000 people and told to speak. Yeah, it was a little bit bizarre. When I think of it, it was the best thing that could have ever happened to me, though. I know that I have a natural ability to speak. So I do know that, even though I'm an introvert. Some people are not. So when I help and I do mentor people speaking on the TEDx stage, I take people and teach them, because most people are not natural born speakers, how to speak on stage. So I would also recommend that if you really do want to be a speaker, you get some training and some help in that area so that when you do show up, you're going to blow people away. You're going to be so confident. And trust me, they will be just like they are with Barbara and I. They'll think it's so incredible at how I could never do what you do, Ralph. You're such an extrovert. Trust me, that will happen.
And I highly recommend, if you're looking for a good place to get a little bit of skills training and a little bit of practice, Toastmasters. If you've got a local Toastmasters group, I used to serve at what we called an incubator group at Unity in Michigan. And why we called it an incubator group is brand new people that I don't know if I can even stand up here and talk at all, let me try a table topics, or maybe even their first meeting, they didn't even raise their hand to do a table topics. That's how new and how unskilled they were. And we would take them through and we would be very gentle and firm in our feedback, very supportive. And by the time they got through that first module or that first manual, they felt confident, like, okay, I can stand up here and I can do table topics and talk confidently for 2 minutes straight and know when to stop, and those skills. So if you can find a group that's got a reputation as an incubator group, because those people know how to give you feedback in a way that's encouraging and supporting, not the advanced groups that are like, where did you come from? Why don't you know these basics? Kind of, not that anybody in Toastmasters is mean, but yeah, you get up there and they're like, you got to have these things down before we even start evaluating you, kind of thing.
Really great suggestion.
Yeah. Alrighty. So any other final thoughts or any last questions before we head off for the day?
Oh, this was awesome. Thank you so much. I really
I'm
appreciate it, Doctor and Gail.
happy to be with you. And if you have any other questions, just you can find me anywhere on social media. I'm happy to respond and to help. And it's just a pleasure to meet you, Ralph.
You too. Thank you so much.
And thank you again for your service, Ralph.
I appreciate that.
Take care, Ralph. We'll see you soon. And
All
thank
right.
you, Terry. I really appreciate you from the tip top and bottom of my heart. You are an amazing light for me to follow.
I'm
So
very
much.
glad we're connected and really happy to play. I'm honored that I was here with you. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Gail.
Thank you. All right. Have a great one. We'll see you all real soon. Bye.
Bye now.
Bye.